I drink almond milk. Organic. It's a little bit better than the last time I really remember meeting you, which was after a breakup at a coffee bean.
No, I remember that convo too. Well, he's a good-looking guy.
Very complimentary. I don't know.
That's
about
a compliment.
You said you were too nice, right? Or no?
Were you drunk?
Well, if I was in LA with at a nightclub 7 years ago, that probably yes.
Right. So you had not made the decision to do that. There was possible that he could have swayed
I'm trying to recollect this meeting that we're having basically right now. But I remember you saying that it maybe would have ended up in a typecasting situation and like kind of that, you'd be stuck in the thing maybe. That I feel like that was around, that was a good time when we connected then, and then we've connected since, like a few times.
For sure.
Yeah.
Walk me through Sunday night at the Globes. You're in a suit.
They actually don't give you any food whatsoever, and so that was definitely not helping.
So they don't feed you before?
They don't really. They bring you like a salad. You have like these little cucumber sandwiches that are there all night, and Mary J. Blige was not eating them. She was sitting next to me, and so I didn't really pick on them either. And then you all you have is this big Moet bottle, and I was watching Hugh Jackman pour himself a hefty glass, so I guess I was like, all right, I guess I'll be okay. But I ended up having to go up there. That up until 2 days before, I didn't know that I was going to have to go up there and be a human being.
By the way, you look great.
People. So you watched them. You watched the Globe.
Margot, because I do think she's had without
unbelievable year.
She's had the best performance of the year.
Absolutely.
Saoirse.
Is that how you say Saoirse?
I think you say
and you
Saoirse Ronan. Yeah.
Saoirse.
And Margot Robbie murders that role. Does she not?
I mean, without a doubt, she definitely, like, if you watch the 30 for 30 Price of Gold, that's Tonya Harding and whatnot, and you play that, and then you watch Margot in the movie as the older version, for example. Like,
it's frightening.
It's parallels, it's crazy, and some of the skating stuff too.
You're like, holy shit, that's Oprah.
Of course, I would have been probably. I had an easier time saying hi to her than to Denzel. I'll say that.
Is this the first time you were at the Globes?
Well, it was really for me. I had been at the viewing party before, which is like this other thing backstage, which is kind of fun. You sit there, you get to see a lot of your peers and people but then to be in the actual room, it was the first time.
Okay.
It is more fun. Everyone lets loose and has a good time, and then they do eat actually at that part. Yeah, it becomes a whole thing after the Globes are done when basically everybody goes there. But while they're happening, all these people are in this room watching it and kind of having a party, which is a lot of fun. So I'd gone to that. Yeah, but I was scared.
Are you able to go back to the secondary room between commercial breaks?
You can, yeah, as long as you have your ticket. But I was scared to leave my seat.
Your ticket's right here, man.
No, they don't care about that.
They don't care about that.
The ticket is in the form of in your hand.
Okay. Why were you scared to leave your seat?
Because somebody was going to take it. The seating stuff is so tricky. I think over there, in terms of, and also I think they have people that maybe sort of replace the seats,
seat fillers,
or something like that. Maybe,
right?
But I didn't want to go up there during like Oprah's speech, for example, and be one that has no seat and is like looking, And I ended up sitting on Hugh Jackman's wife's lap.
So you
at one point, which was.
Wait, the seat filler, does the seat filler guy look like you?
No, definitely not.
Is your picture on your seat?
No, and it's actually, you don't even have a name. There wasn't even a name thing on there. And I'd gotten there really early, so I was like hanging on to my seat. Like, I thought, okay, I better I took like the side seat. I thought that was going to be the safe seat, that way everyone can kind of like, I was testing the water. I was trying to see what the whole thing was about. It was a little bit more nerve-wracking than I thought. Let's just say when Allison Janney won, I let out such a loud scream that I thought, I was like, there's the kid from the Eastern European country, like sitting at the big table. Like, I actually was too loud, I think. Well, when you're looking around, like when you're looking at some of these people, they're like the Tom Hanks and sort of like Ridley Scott's and all these people. It is a little surreal for sure, but we were there for a good reason. Like, I'm tremendously proud of the movie. I felt like we had earned being there. I mean, we were shooting that. We hadn't even shot the movie yet over a year ago, so to have just gotten there and be at this award show in the same, virtually almost the same year was already an achievement. But I felt like I belonged there. So it was good from that.
It must feel nice to be able to own the seat that you're sitting in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree, of course.
Now,
Absolutely.
Allison Janney,
that was her first Golden Globe win,
which is ridiculous.
Out of 6 prior nominations, and she's got 7 Emmys as well.
Was she ever nominated for
An
her
Oscar?
the CJ role for West Wing?
Oh yeah,
as a Golden
she's
Globe,
won.
and never won.
I know she's won for sure. As a Golden Globe, no.
So she must have been super excited.
Oh yeah. I think she was thrilled, and we were thrilled too. I mean, so her and the writer Stephen Rogers have like a funny story together. They like went to college together. He was trying to be an actor for a while. He's been writing parts for her for years, and like he can't ever hire her. They could never get her. Basically, they would always want someone else. So he wrote this movie with her in mind for that part, and actually finally had it in writing for her to be that role. And so it's like watching the two of them was very funny to me, because she's finally, up there for this one role that he always wanted,
her to play in his head.
Margot basically is what makes the movie happen. I mean, it starts with her, she found it on the blacklist, and then was like, I want to develop this, and then they were talking to directors, and Craig was the only one I think that had like got the tone of the movie and was like really had a very specific take on how he wanted to make it. And that's how they went with
There's a lot of people in the fucking movie business that aren't artists, correct?
No, of course. I mean, it's one of those, it's like a fine line. There is an artistry to it, but you don't see it all the time.
Is the business part the worst part of it?
I don't, I mean, maybe yes and no. I think how sometimes these things come together is probably a little
strange.
Yeah, it's not, and I think there's a lot, like, I guess what I'm getting at is I don't think talent necessarily is always what gets you the job.
Right.
And I don't know if anyone really judges things by your talent right away. I think that's more like a 5 or 6 on a list of 10 things, that's of importance.
And there's
yeah, I mean, because it's to some people, I think it is very much statistics, and it is sort of, kind of what people bring to the table, because it's so hard to make a movie now.
It's so hard to make a movie,
and to make an original movie. I mean, it's like we're almost back to like the 20s or the 30s, where like studios kind of feel safer kind of hiring you if something works like a franchise, and then you why keep doing it until it gets broken? Like just keep going.
I read that Margot didn't know it was a true story. Is that true?
Yeah,
so she did not know, and she just wanted to be a part of it, and then found out it was a true story.
She read the script and was like, "This is so crazy and insane," and then
it's so crazy it can't be real.
Yeah,
correct. Basically,
right.
Everybody's life from that thing was to some extent ruined. I mean, I don't think anybody walked away with something good.
How did you get the role?
I had a meeting with the director, a Skype meeting, and then I said I'm down to fly to LA and audition, whatever it takes for it. And then he said, well, all right, well, let me get back to you on this. And then 3 weeks went by, and they were talking to somebody much more famous than me. And then it fell apart. Whatever that was going on, that conversation was sort of it didn't work out for whatever reason, but it worked out for me, obviously, that way. And then I got a call, and I happened to be in LA, and then I went in and I auditioned, and then that went well, and then they had me come back with Margot. But
then Margot's got to sign off on you, right? It's her vehicle.
She's got to sign off. Yeah, I mean, she was a producer on it too.
Right, so she could be like, I hate that guy.
Pretty much.
And you'd be done.
That's it.
But by the way,
I think, even though the sweetest girl in the world, so I can't even see her do that.
Well, no, but she's the one in power in that situation.
Of course. Well, that's the thing with her. Like, that's why I found so inspiring about her, is that, it's literally her husband, and I think 2 of their other friends that started this company, Lucky Chap. And that's what she wants. She wants to find roles that are empowering women. And
were you hanging on to like, God, I really want to do that?
No, it was very excruciating, because it'd gone well, and then I still wasn't hearing back from them about it, and it'd gone well with Margot, and I wasn't hearing back from them, and I was losing my mind, and I actually called my agent. It was right around Thanksgiving, and I said, look, I think we need to call him and just say, please take till Monday or Tuesday and then just tell us yes or no so that we can just move on with our lives. But that's the thing. You're not in control as an actor, but that's the only thing you can do. You can kind of just say, and not like you can take it up to here at this point. I need to move on with my life. No, that's one of the conversations, I always end up having. It's like the problems don't go away. It's just they just change. The other thing everyone always says about, you think you conquer this mountain and then there's another one right there as soon as you do. Like it doesn't ever
Do you
stop.
feel fulfilled currently with your career and where you at? Have you been able to take a minute and be like,
I do. I'm terribly
got
impatient. I'll say that. I mean, I'm terribly impatient. I think like I have I have a lot of hard expectations for myself, especially at 35 in my head. But
all right, what does that mean? Explain that. Expectations for your 35, Mr. Okay.
When my parents, my dad was 27 when he had me, right? And then my mom was, I believe, had me, she was younger. So I think she was like 24. And at 32, like she was, working as a single mom in a foreign country that she didn't speak the language of, like bringing home the dough and taking care of a 10-year-old kid. Like, that's what she was doing at 32. And so, like, I guess in my head at 35, like, I think a lot about where I want to be. I sort of feel like I should be further along.
Are you fulfilled?
Of course, sitting here today, I feel great. Yeah.
I mean, dude, you have come an amazing. Are you aware of that?
There's fear of fulfillment,
Just be okay. Like, it's good to be you.
Yeah, no.
No, is it not?
It is. Yeah, it is. But it's hard to say that sometimes, I guess. It is. No, for sure. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's the big thing that, it's like you can't go through life just basically running yourself like that's how people run themselves into the ground, is like they never really take a moment to kind of appreciate things. And so it's one of the things I've done, is at least like in that room on Sunday, it's just to sit there and go, this is as good as it gets. Like that's it. Like what more can be filled from this moment, but I think we're in that culture though. I think that's the American way, It's like you got to always be fucking better, stronger, faster. I mean, that's the underneath sort of stream of, I think, like sometimes what we deal with, or at least how I came up, because I'm, I still, even though I'm from another country, I still grew up here. So no, in Romania,
fucking same country to me. Same shit.
The other Eastern European here is
Serbia, Hungary, Croatia. It's all the same little area.
They were under the Russian.
So
I mean, I grew up, like sacrifice is a huge thing in my life growing up. Like that was with my parents, and the fact of like, we came here, my mom like worked hard. We got here, we got to New York. And so it's like, the pressure was a little on, but I'm not saying it was bad. It's just, it's a very, what are you going to do with it? Now you're here, and what are you going to do with it?
Right.
And that's the kind of the feeling.
Do you got brothers and sisters?
I have one half brother on my dad's side, but we didn't grow up together.
Okay.
So I grew up
and you get along with your mom and dad?
Yes.
Which one do you like more?
They're so different. I mean, it's like,
I know, but you like one of them more.
I like one of them more? That's like Sophie's Choice or something.
I like my mom more than I like my dad.
Your mom, yeah, of course. There you go. Wow. Well, I appreciate that, man. I've certainly, no one is. I mean, I never. That's a very.
Do you understand what I'm saying, though?
I do. I'm grateful for hearing it. I do. I think that was a hard. I don't know if anybody would want to try and steal scenes with that role. But you mean the domestic violence was very much part of the world.
Did you study domestic violence?
I mean, I definitely looked up different things, like in terms of where it starts, like, and it always starts in childhood. I mean, like, whatever you grow up seeing and you think that's like a caretaker handling something, that's where you start picking it up. And I'm, I don't want to speak for him, obviously, because I didn't meet him, but
you did meet him.
I met him, yeah. But I would say that you get to see what she grew up like, but I'm positive his experience was not very different from hers. I mean, it had, I just, the feeling I got is that he probably had a really hard childhood. But I think the weird part about this one situation is because every footage I found, I mean, he clearly went out of his way. At least you see him come across in such like a, I'm like this meek guy, and I never really had a girl in high, and so you don't get it right off the bat the way you see it been romanticized in movies like the Marlon Brando Streetcar, the big
overbearing
sexy,
love.
yeah, like
right.
Here I am, baby, like the alpha guy. Like so it wasn't like violence. It would have, if it would have been violence, even though he denies it, and
he denies ever hitting her.
Yeah, he denies the abuse.
Still.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I didn't really ask him that, to be honest. I mean, I think I said, this is what he might have said it before me. Actually, he might have said it. Listen, the one thing that they always got wrong was that she and I had this sort of really hard, abusive kind of relationship, and that was never the case. And so
do you believe him?
I don't know what to believe, to be honest. Because he was not a easy guy to read per se, and also I had a struggle.
You're really
time.
Good in this. I'm sorry.
No. I had a
There's a sociopathicness to his performance. It's like this mellow, quiet dude, and he doesn't like what she's doing. Bang! Like that happens. Yeah. That's how it works.
I don't know whether he even was. If he was doing that, I don't even know if he was really aware. Like that's what I mean. Like it might have happened so quickly, or he might have talked himself out of believing like that's not what I don't know, but whatever it was, it would have been spontaneous like that. It wouldn't have been like a premeditated sort of, here I'm coming home, I'm pissed off, and this is going to happen.
I'm going to beat her up.
It's like, I feel this, and I don't like feeling this, and this is my way of
communicating.
With it because
it's my way of saying I'm scared.
I don't have other
why
tools.
Aren't you giving me what I need? It's this instead. You didn't look at the guy and go, come on, Jeff. Come on, Jeff. You beat her ass all the time.
Here's the thing. I needed his help. I needed his help in the sense of like I needed him. And like that's what I was getting at. I needed to in a way tell him like, dude, I'm about to go play this part, and regardless of your history or what's been said about you, I feel responsible for you in some way now. And I feel I just gotta try and get somewhere. And the other thing is, I said I didn't write the script. And so I have to portray the version that you say and the version that she says. And in the version that she says, this is what happened. So regardless whether it happened or not, it's going to be portrayed. So,
and they don't talk. They're not friends. They don't hang.
No, but I'm pretty sure they live like 20 minutes away from each other.
Right.
The same town, I think. But
they got different lives and different...
You play the older Gillooly.
Are those... And that's why I wanted to meet him, because I couldn't find anything on him like now at 50.
Right. Are those interviews real? Like when you're portraying the older Gillooly, is that a real interview that you just... No,
so a lot of that is actually based on the audio interview that the screenwriter Stephen Rogers did.
He did, and so you heard.
I was listening to that over and over again and trying to get the voice, and like I was just, and a lot of that is in there, but and then I just wanted to see him, like, talk or whatever. But I think what you said is interesting, because like I don't think people talk a lot about that, to be honest. It's like, instead of like, I figure that like instead of like having this war with yourself, that every time you get a job, you should like be the one to stand out. You have to, you got to like know what lane you're in.
Isn't acting about giving? Isn't it about making the other person the best they can be, and then therefore you will end up looking good too? Or that's not how it's approached?
I think that, but I've definitely suffered from that too. Don't worry, I've definitely been across some other people where like the camera was on them. This person you actually know,
okay,
he's an unbelievable person, and
there's tricks though,
and camera's on him, and I'm giving him like my all, and I know that when it turns around, he'll probably, he'll return the favor, but
gone,
instead,
not even there.
He's like trying to crack me up and fuck my
which
take.
Ruined they shoot the scene with all three of them. I think that shit's called The Master.
Yeah, right, where everybody's in, right. Well, because also like sometimes with some of those big heavyweights, you get them only for a certain amount of time, and then if you didn't get them, by 6 o'clock they're gone. So it doesn't matter whether they got to you or not.
Who do you want to work with?
Oh, I mean, I want to get to the.
I know you want to work
director.
with everybody,
No,
but if there's
no.
a guy that you could go, is it Denzel? Is it Leo? Is it Sean Penn? Is it what? Is it a girl?
I love all those guys. All those guys are obviously people I've looked up to for years and years. But I would say like I would work with this director who did Blade Runner and
see, he's in this. See, he's
and
fun.
Arrival.
That's
Well,
it.
if Leo's in this movie, then he clearly picked a good director. So you're already good.
The
right?
director,
or same
right.
for the other two. I mean, I think an actor could do a great performance, but if the movie isn't good, you don't really care for it.
What makes a good director for you?
I mean, I think it's somebody that knows how to like leave you alone and then say the right thing when they need to, but like not get in your way. It's like it's like dealing with dealing with children. Actors are children. They're emotional wrecks.
Did you and Margot on the set, did you guys create this loving, weird, fucking dynamic? Like this come here, go, like does does your relationship start to mimic what you guys are portraying?
Well, no. I mean it didn't, I loved working with her. Like, I mean, I just thought, because she's down for anything. Like, I mean, a lot of times in this movie, obviously, I would say to her, be like, look, like, we're about to get, even though we rehearsed everything, like, we're about to get, physical. Like, how do we know when enough or what? And she would, oftentimes look at me and go, like, I just want you to know, if you don't hit me at this point, I'm going to fucking break a chair over your face. So, and I was like, all right, well,
okay,
that's
so
good.
she goes, this beautiful little pixie goes method on you. She's like,
but she went into it. I mean, there was one scene that obviously didn't make it into the movie. There was a car where I slammed her hand into the car door.
yeah, I remember that. Don't do that again.
And that thing,
Jesus Christ, ouchie.
That went for a while actually before he yelled cut, and she like beats the shit out of me like throughout that entire rest of the thing. It didn't make it into the movie. But my point is, she made that happen. She made it okay to.
So she
to
makes
trust.
the boundary, or she says there is no boundary.
Well,
that's what I want, and then you guys
and
do
in
that.
This situation, it was very much like you should lead this, and you should tell me where we need to go in terms of kind of like when's enough's enough, or how far do we take it?
Was there a safe word or something that she has?
No, I mean we would laugh. No, she would start laughing, and that would be pretty okay.
And did you actually hit her?
No.
You don't actually hit her.
Never.
But you pretend to hit her.
No, but I hit the big guy a few times.
the goofball.
Bodyguard, yeah, he and I went punch for punch.
By the way, he's great in it too.
He's awesome.
Fantastic.
He's really good. It seems like you guys are pretty friendly. You guys are.
He was great. I mean, he was. Like we had enough time before we started where it became. I think we had a nice rapport that kind of made it to the screen. Well, it was crazy but look, money is such a huge thing. It's the money thing is a big thing actually, and class in the movie, and that's the thing you're talking maybe from these where you said Omaha and like those parts. Like these guys didn't. They just thought like money would. Would save everything. I mean, I think they paid those two guys that did it $1,000. And they just thought, like Gillooly said, Jeff said this basically, was like, I gave them money. I thought they would go away. I thought everything was going to be solved because money saves everything. And obviously, so there was not a whole lot of.
And the big mystery of this, and then we're going to play a song. The big mystery still to this day is, did Tonya know? Right?
Well,
you dance around it in the movie, but you don't nail down like, I knew what was going on, but she did.
Well, I think what he says is that she knew about the death threats, and she knew like that they were going to send these letters,
right?
But that they both didn't know that Sean would take it to where he took it.
Do you believe him?
I mean, I think that's the closest. I did believe him. I thought, that it's a plausible
hold on. God
scenario.
comes, they
For
not
the
know.
purposes of me playing him, I had to believe him. Yeah, at that point, that I took as truth. I mean,
purposes of playing him,
right?
But
I don't think he knew.
You don't think he knew?
No.
Fascinating.
I think where he goes wrong, where everybody goes wrong, is instead of like right away, like going and telling the authorities what happened, they decided to cover it all up, try to get away with it, like make it like as if nothing had happened, and that was the problem.
You think it's the best picture winner?
I think it should be up there for sure.
It definitely should be nominated. Are you your best supporting actor, right?
That's the category I would have.
You would be in.
But there's, some fucking unbelievable actors this year in that category. Sam Rockwell, how many performances did that guy put in before this is his first Oscar nomination? It's kind of crazy. And then it's just about having, like everybody communicate the same language. It's just like, you go like, well, who's the director, who else is in it, and what's the script, and then but if it's a good movie, if it's a good script, like Leo is going to be in it. Why not go to that guy, right?
Right.
I actually feel like, listen, to be honest, like yes, fans did come up to me, but to be honest, I was going to say is like, I sometimes listen because I literally want to get my news from you.
No, that's not good. Or not. It's not good.
But once in a while, I pay attention to that when I gotta go to before I gotta go to work.
Do you fuck with politics?
Oh God! Listen, for my own sanity, no. Honestly, no. I inevitably, like everybody else, like watch what's going on, the train wrecks that are happening, like on the news, but like with weariness. But I don't feel like I'm able to make serious statements
because you're not educated enough about the situation, or I
feel like I'm not putting in the time that it would require for me to really research, meaning I should look at different outlets and really go and even read the European papers. I should
before you formulate an opinion.
Yeah, I was supposed to just come out there and be like, this is what I heard, to some extent.
Do your agents and managers, do they tell you not to talk about politics? Do they say steer clear of all that because there's Republicans that go see movies and Democrats?
No, I haven't had anybody tell me that, no, lately.
Walk me through November 8th, 2016 on Election Day.
Oh, well, funny enough, here's the weird part. I was in my hotel room in Santa Monica, and I was going over my audition for I, Tonya, which was the next day.
Interesting.
And all I remember was that I was like, I got to go to sleep. I can't watch this thing. Like, I got to get enough sleep for tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't turn off the television because it was just like the
bad news kept coming.
Unspeakable was happening. I was getting text messages and people freaking out that he was actually going to win. And then, I had shaved the facial hair I had into a mustache for the audition. And I was like worried that someone was going to give a fuck about like me walking around looking like an idiot the next day, and no one cared because it was the end of the world.
Right.
And that's how at least everybody behaved at that hotel.
Do you have anything that you have a cause? Do you have something that sings to you that you really care about?
The ones that I'm getting much more, there's three things that I'm getting more affiliated with, and they all each have like little personal vendettas. One is autism, because that's something that's very personal to my manager, and then I've been with her for 22 years. So,
and I'm teasing
family.
about.
There's another foundation called Our Big Day Out that's in Romania about orphans. Romania had a lot of orphan issues.
Why is that?
Kids. Because everything kind of fell apart in '89 when the revolution happened. Like the whole country just fell apart. No one knew how to function because they had been functioning under this dictatorship. And then, they thought they were going to basically I think, if humbly I may say, pride got the best of them and they fucking shot the guy before they should have gotten some more information out of him. I don't know. But the country was in shambles. And I mean, there were people who had no jobs and nothing to put food on the table and would send their kids to, find a life for themselves. And so you had all of these kids that ended up in Bucharest, like in the tunnel systems, that were addicted to like the spray paint and all that stuff.
Okay. Wow.
So anyway, I have a really good friend in Romania, and she's, handling this thing called Our Big Day Out. So that's something I want to get more involved in. And then my stepdad passed away a few years ago from Alzheimer's. And so that was another thing that I thought I should, but I'm clearly, I haven't done enough to get the ball rolling.
Well, no-
And I think the other thing that's, like one thing I'm lucky with on Instagram, for example, I have these people that write to me these personal questions. They go, my parents got divorced, and they're kids, and they're like, my parents got divorced. I don't know what to do. I feel depressed, or I'm like, help me with this or that. And I was having this conversation with somebody today who was a big producer in this business, and he was saying how, you can't be afraid. Like, and he was like, I have these 4 daughters, and like, all I'm worried about is that they're going to look at me and all they're going to see is my successes and not my failures. And I need to communicate to them how important failures are, because that's what really fucking makes a difference. And so when I look at, I guess I bring that up because when I look at Instagram and stuff, I think about these kids that kind of get the wrong idea of like, life from that app per se, but I feel like it's important to go like, yeah, I fucking get depressed. I get depressed all the time, like, I mean, we all have our moments. So
what are you bad at? What are you not good at?
Oh God, come on.
What is the thing that
This
you
is
need to work on the most?
I can't, this is like the only job I can do. I can't do, I don't know. I mean, the acting is the only thing I can do, right? So I'm not saving anybody's life, or maybe, but you can, maybe.
You for sure you can. You can definitely you can definitely be of service as an actor. It's just up to you to make that decision to do that. But I'm talking.
I'm my own worst
Are you
enemy.
irresponsible? Are you financially irresponsible?
No.
Are you?
I'm a very good overthinker. Like,
Are you neurotic? You think too much?
I'm definitely neurotic for sure.
You
I
are.
overthink everything, and I'm a great example of getting in your own way. So I think like that's like the one thing.
Give me an example of getting in your own way.
I can easily talk myself into thinking that it's the end of what's the fucking point? It's the end of the world. I mean, I can do that probably in 15 seconds.
So you can quickly get into that morbid reflection.
For sure. I can definitely get into that, but also like, like I could sit there and look at the other night and go, oh, it's nice to be surrounded by these people, but this, but that, but this, but that, but that, and then catch myself in all that.
Why do you think you do that?
Because I had probably a very unstable upbringing, and that's
Makes
the
sense.
one thing what makes you successful at the same time is also your own thing. It's gets in your way.
So we're all perfectly imperfect.
Right. Well, you need your anchors, right? I don't think I've been in situations where people are like really, really seeking to know my.
But if you made some kind of a wild comment, you are big enough now where that would hit and be a thing. If you made some asinine comment about this current,
yeah, I'm sure like anybody else, I would be, of course. I mean,
have you been asked questions about it?
Well, we've been promoting the movie at the
which
time
a lot of it has
happening.
Yeah, of course,
and of course, actually. The movie deals with some aspect of abuse, obviously, and it is about a woman and kind of her taking charge or struggling to take charge, and I mean figure skating and all these fucking older judges, and a lot of them being men, and so it's actually a very timely movie that way. But yeah, we've dealt with it a little bit. I mean, it's inevitable not to deal with it. I mean, the first thing that ever comes to my mind immediately is that it's a sad, like it's a very off kilter like feeling. It's just awful because you feel I think as a man I feel like you feel helpless and also like in a way, but also still somehow responsible, or you feel like you should be doing something. You feel like that's like the feeling that when you read these things or when you see these things, it's like fuck, like okay, like what can I do? What do I do now? Like how can I help the situation? Because it's but in a way, I mean, I think the world would be a safer place if women ran the world.
Sure.
I mean, literally, like I think it's almost like slightly proven fact. There's this great book out there, it talks about, it's called Sapiens, and it literally asks the question, like if like world leaders were actually all women, would we even have a fucking war? You know what I mean? Would we even have to go to that, extent? Would people die as much? Would it be? So I don't know. I think, but I think what's happening is that there's a real confusion, a little bit about what everyone's sort of like. Okay, like what kind of man am I now? Like what there's a confusion in the way females and males, I think, are interacting because it has been changing, and we are in a world now that is where women don't need men, in my opinion. Can do. And they don't have to. Like they can supply they can make more money. They can have jobs. They can lead companies. They can do whatever they want. They can have kids without men. You know what I mean? So what's what's our fucking purpose at this point?
Right, as men. Well, for 4,000 years we've had it our way.
Exactly.
And the institutional misogyny exists. We don't even know that we're being. We've had so many different conversations about my own behavior over the last 20 years. This all starts to happen, and then I start to wonder, like, okay, how was I out of line or inappropriate, or how did I take liberty with situations or women that worked for me, or I had this door girl that worked for me forever, and there was like every night we were flirting with her. And it was like, wait a minute, this woman just maybe wants to go to work and not be flirted with, right? She just wants to go and do her job. But every night she's in this, like, not coercive, but like, dealing with comments and that's not me being a bad guy. That's just me that's me not really understanding that like it's the institutional misogyny of where we are. And I think that's the best thing that's happening here, is that we are really having to redraw lines of our own male behavior, even though we're not bad guy. I'm not a bad guy with that, but there have been ways that I have been like, holy shit, how did I be looking at my door girl going, Jesus, you look great tonight. How about tonight? Is tonight the night we're going to go home and fuck? Like, she doesn't need to hear that at 1:40, but I didn't know that I was doing anything wrong, really. Right, Zombie?
Right, you thought you were joking. And
having fun, and because we're living in an institutionally misogynist world, but I couldn't imagine the idea if it was the other way around for 4,000 years. I could not imagine, like, putting my clothes on at 8:30 going, fuck, I'm about to get hit on by the zombie again tonight. Like, I don't,
like, better not wear that because I know that's going to get a comment.
So,
but in consumerism and in the message out there repeatedly, often in movies and commercials and what sells, we've been prone to think that that's a good thing. You should, if you're a woman, you should get a compliment. You're lucky or something. Like there's a message out there.
It's all actions.
And it's going to take some time, I think, for men to like
know their place,
how to communicate properly. Because
especially with movies and sets, the line is so gray, isn't it?
I mean,
how do you travail that as an actor?
I think the only thing to do is you have to communicate. I think, which is something we're getting worse and worse at doing, but maybe not anymore now that we have to communicate. Now we're up against the wall where you have to communicate to people, and you have to go. I think if you like someone, you should say it, as opposed to fucking try to be like 14, and go like, I just want to tell you I like you. But I don't know. I mean, but I think on sets, there needs to be a communication. I mean, obviously between people that work together and then have to pretend that they're in a relationship or whatever. Or, that where it's going like, hey, are we cool? Or, like, how do we approach this? How are you feeling about it? Whereas before, I think, I know there are actors out there who would come off from a place of,
I'm the guy.
We'll see what happens.
Right.
The scene,
zombie.
But also, I feel like, look, I mean, you can read the other person, right? I mean, if you're staring at her and she's not looking back, maybe don't go up to her.
Of course.
I mean, like, unless you are somebody who thinks that, like, you can
do whatever you want because I'm the guy.
Look how that played out. So
I feel like I'm overhearing conversations between men being like, I'm scared. I don't know how to act around a woman. And I've never felt that way, that I don't know how to act around a woman. That I heard a conversation one time where, like, I'm scared to give a woman a kiss on the cheek to say hi. And it's like, well, I've never even thought to do that. And
I definitely this past weekend hugged some people and given them a kiss on the cheek, and they did not kiss me back on the cheek, and I felt very worried about it. And I was like, that's I didn't know. And then I went for the double, like,
right,
on the other side, and that didn't work out either. So I know what you mean.
What's going on with you and girls? Do you have a
segue into?
Do you have a? Is it hard to date and be you?
Well, look, I mean, I think in this business it's really difficult because you're traveling all the time. You're never
a
in the same
gentle
place.
man. You're a lover. You are a gentle.
You didn't get that because the message out there of what is a man is like, I don't know.
Well, no,
I might have had it because, like, for example, like I have my past is in Eastern Europe.
Right.
So that's a very specific kind of, messaging that I was growing up, and so that's what I mean. I think sometimes when you hear gentleman and you're growing up, like, you don't really think that's always a good thing. Or something.
Right.
And that's like a message you get, because, you have Robert De Niro and Raging Bull, and all that stuff. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, is that where you were getting?
Well, I was raised by two women, so I cherish females.
Me too.
Violent, but it's never been about intimacy or connecting. Like, I've had to learn how to do that with Courtney, like make love instead of having it be.
You never associated the two.
Yeah,
but you have had sex where love is.
And it's incredible.
And it is incredible and
Correct.
sometimes way better. So then.
For sure.
No.
You know what I mean? No.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We had a conversation a few years ago. I don't remember. You were with a girl, and you were really battling about being a good man. That's what I took out of it, right? You weren't a scumbag. So in your life and with dating, your schedule's a nightmare. Do you always worry when you meet a new girl? Why does she really like me? Do you have that going on?
No, I don't. No, I don't think that. I don't. My brain doesn't go there. I mean, it never has gone there, to be honest. No.
Are you hard to date?
I'm sure I'm not easy to date. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not easy. Definitely not a walk in the park.
Why are you not easy to date?
Because I get in my own way. I mean, because
you overthink.
I think I overthink, but I also I think that I can be emotionally unavailable, and I think that's very tough. I think, and not all the time. I just mean I think and that's just unfortunately part of this business. Like when you're getting caught up, when you're still trying to come up the ladder, when you're trying to get these jobs or whatever, you're trying to do a good work, do a good part, whatever. Like sometimes you're not, but maybe that's something we all struggle with. Who can be emotionally available all the time? Even after a year. How long have you guys have been together? How long?
My girl and I have been together five
That's
years
amazing.
in April. I'll go through stretches of 2, 3, 4 weeks where I'm literally just living in my own world, and she has the fortitude and the foresight to understand that my person is currently in that place, and it's not personal to me. That's his own individual journey. He's got this going on, that going on, this going on.
Well, that takes a very strong woman.
I am in a perpetual state of compromise. That's what relationships are.
100%.
Give, take, compromise.
And values and what's valuable to you. Like if you know your values better, if you know what's your values, that's at least you got that going.
Have you been in a relationship and personalized when someone has been unavailable?
Of course. I mean, 1,000%.
And you think it's your fault, and what's wrong, and what am I doing wrong, and why do you not, and who do you like, and why?
Yeah,
you get into all of that.
Yeah, of course. Like I think it's hard not to. You have to be really
sure. Do you like being single more than you like being in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, or are you a serial monogamist? What is your?
Oh, I mean, I don't. I mean. I'm just laughing at some of my friends in the back, giving me a nice line. I feel like I think there's pros.
You're
and
doing
cons.
great, by the way.
I think there's pros and cons to both. I mean, look, I think it's I like intimacy with somebody. I like doing something with someone. I like going to. Traveling with somebody, going to museums, whatever, like having to, that connection.
Companionship.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. And sometimes that's very important. Sometimes that could be more important than sex even, Although that's a tough.
No, way
you know,
more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I think I've seeked that, in one way or shape or form, but you can't always have that. I mean,
Do you want kids and all that? You must.
Yeah,
Right.
I would love kids. He's 7 and I'm 35 right now. There is a part in the back of my mind that I go, fuck, I should be a father. I should be, I should be there for my son and stuff. And I mean, I should have kids already, and provide and all that stuff. But I have to remember that we're in a very different world than he was in.
Sure.
In the 1980s. And a lot of things have changed. And I think, one of the things I talk to my friends about a lot is like, you can't decide to be a dad because that's what you should be doing next.
Right.
You gotta know.
Just because that's the stop on the train.
Right. That's the stop on the train. And then, next thing you know.
People do that, though. They will make concessions because at this age, I'm supposed to be this guy.
But I feel like that comes back to haunt people later.
For sure.
And that's my biggest worry when it comes with it is like rather than, and everybody's like, but don't you want to run around with your kid or do you want to be like 60, whatever, while you're, you can't play ball with your kids and stuff. And I feel like I'm probably going to be a lot healthier at that time than my dad was, and it is now. But more importantly, you should have some idea of who you are,
for sure,
before you try to tell somebody else how to be. So,
what is your favorite quality in a woman emotionally?
Favorite quality in a woman emotionally? The thing I despise the most is criticism. Again, it's inevitable. That's part of life. But emotional quality, I think, is it's just the emotionally supportive to somebody who may or may not always be there. Can I also ask her a question at some point? I don't want to disturb what you're saying.
Fuck off. Ask her questions all day long.
Will you tell me what you think women want?
You mean just in general? Yeah. Plus.
Well, of providing safety and laughter.
Yeah, and I have at different points in my life for sure. I mean, but safety I get you on. I mean, that's the thing we all want, right? Is some kind of certainty in a certain uncertain world. Thank you. I mean, I'm glad I was involved in some good conversation.
Thanks,
Have you seen Frank Ocean?
No.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Oh, I'm all over the place.
Headbanger?
No.
Anthrax?
No, I'm all over the place. I'm definitely more into like 70s, 80s kind of stuff, but I can go and 90s rap like a little, but nowadays, if you ask me, like,
yeah, what's on your thing right now? What are you listening
all I
to?
listen to is that song "No Limit." Post Malone, that's all.
Oh, Post Malone.
Post Malone.
But it's not. No, it's not him. I just mean No Limit is another guy.
Is it G-Eazy? No.
That's it.
Is it G-Eazy? Yeah. That's
That
the song
is
you
really
like.
Great.
What's Bucky Nat?
Bucky and Natasha, which is Scarlett Johansson's character.
Bucky Nat.
So they have a storyline in the comic books that they could develop into a movie.
Can y'all ask Sebastian to say rather again in a British accent? Thanks. Rather. Okay.
Don't ask me to do it.
What's his favorite movie that he has been a part of?
Probably
Are you allowed to
Tonya.
answer that? I, Tonya.
No, Tonya's, yeah, it's definitely and the Winter Soldier movie. I had it. That was another good one. That I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I really liked Lady Bird. I did.
You did?
Yeah, I thought that was. I know how,
Do you understand my criticism about it?
Yeah, I mean, I know we've like that there's I think there's.
I've seen it a lot.
To that. Yeah, but it's also something that I feel like sometimes we need to keep seeing again and again because it's like, it's like what happens with age. Like you lose the things you think are important at a specific time may not be important.
And I'm not saying that it's not a bad movie, but that Margot Robbie's better than her in that. I mean, if you're like arguing about awards, which is stupid, Margot Robbie should win for Tonya Harding. I 1,000%. I'm not lying to the guy because he's here.
She might be getting the Tonya Harding treatment. Right.
Oh, right.
What was?
Well, no, but Tonya Harding was the best skater, but she got the treatment because she didn't have she wasn't like all the other figure skaters. They wanted a certain look, right? So she was the best skater. So maybe just because she's Tonya Harding,
I don't know. I think there's a lot of real. I mean, listen, like 3 Billboards is a great movie. I mean, that one.
Fargo.
Amazing. Frances McDormand.
She's amazing, but isn't that movie Fargo? Isn't it Fargo
it's not
2?
Fargo.
It is not. You saw it?
I saw it. I loved it. She's a badass in the movie.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she doesn't deserve everything she gets. I just saw that billboard. I was like, I saw that movie 15 years ago. It's called Fargo.
That's stupid.
Okay. Love from Hong Kong. Which scene is your favorite in I, Tonya?
Oh dear God! I
That's
know maybe
these
the
questions
scene,
are stupid.
maybe
That's
the
a
scene where
stupid question.
where they meet by the car, and they get their first kiss. That was a good. That scene was.
You like that scene the best.
That's a great scene.
I do like that scene only because I think it was, because it's awkward when you're, meeting people and you're, because it was awkward. I feel in like some authentic ways. At least it felt when we were doing it.
It's interesting. Okay. Well, his favorite scene, Tonya.
You want one from Twitter?
No, I don't like Twitter.
Oh.
Stop being so personal and offensive.
This one's a good one.
I guess that was me. Sebastian is single, and so am I. You get a lot of you get a lot of that. I would imagine at this point, right?
No. I mean,
Crazies.
I don't have Twitter, first of all, so I don't know. I mean, all I have is Instagram, but I get a lot of, just.
You have anybody that's? Is there anybody that's been dangerous yet?
Dangerous.
Like a stalker or any of that? Does that happen?
I don't think so. No. I mean, knock on wood. I don't.
Okay, well, you should know.
No one's
Well,
been.
you gotta
No one's
know. Okay.
been strange.
Question: Is the work schedule for the Marvel movies gruesome as hell, or is there too much fun to complain? This is a question. I didn't write this.
Yeah. No. There's definitely a little bit of both for sure. I mean, I think it's gruesome because you're never shooting in order. So I could get a call. It's happened. Like I've gotten a call. You're coming in on Thursday for a day, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll change everything around that. And then, but it is a lot of fun too. I mean,
what do they do with your with the? Like if
I had to get a wig this time because there's no way I had enough time to grow the hair out. But they that's what they want. They want the long hair.
All right, and what's coming up? Infinity Wars?
Infinity War, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what happens? I saw the last one.
I think you talked about it.
I saw
the
the
Civil War, right? There's going to be more this time.
What do you mean? There can't be any more.
65, actually. It's insane. I mean, I'm glad I'm not the one deciding how to put a 2.5 hour movie together with that. I mean, it's just, I don't know how they do it.
The egos on this movie set must be off the chain.
I mean, I'm sure of it. I mean, I think from what I've seen, to be honest, it's always been everybody has like a really, really like great laugh. I mean, I haven't seen, and this one was a little strange for me because a lot of these people in this movie I hadn't worked with before. Like I never, I mean, Downey obviously I had seen the last one, and I always enjoy like seeing him. I mean, it's like
he's the glue to all of that, right?
He's I mean, it started with him, and it's he put everything on the map. I mean, in a way, it's crazy.
At this point,
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen. I mean, I just think, it's they just know how to. Like Hemsworth is so funny. I mean, there's just some funny personalities. I mean, Mackie is hilarious. I mean, like
Renner, the Black Spindle or whatever. I don't know these names. Isn't he the fucking Arrow dude?
He's got the. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean.
The Black Spindle. I just renamed him.
I feel he would love that. He'd love hearing that.
He would. You guys have to be having fun.
No, it's a lot of fun even when it gets chaotic in the sense, and it always gets chaotic because you're like, wow, like how do we, how do you tell a scene with all these people in it? How do you serve each of these characters basically in a movie like that? But you wouldn't be able to do it unless they had 10 years worth of time to get you. Up to speed and where it's arrived. That and so you already know everybody in a way. When
I was never were you a comic book kid?
No, I didn't have them when I grew up.
How many of these have you made?
I did. I guess this one would be my fourth. Yeah,
okay, and
4.
I was reading somewhere because I did a little research.
Oh.
You're on a 9-picture deal here.
That's what they told me in 2010. It's been a few years since, so I think that's still a fact, but
are you ready for that part of your life to be over?
No, I don't know about that because I get very nostalgic about I'm very I like giving credit where credit is due, and the truth is, like those movies for me were I grew up through those movies. I mean, like my in life, and so with these people to some extent. I mean, I've seen, that's the thing. You go like a year goes by in between, and you go and you see each other again. You pick it right up, and so I don't think I'm done with that. I mean, I also lucked out because I really like the character. I think it's
he's
very
the coolest
fun,
one.
It's just gives me a lot to play with. So I have a good time when I get in there. It just
is the winter dragon fight somebody
Winter
at the end.
Soldier, yeah. Yeah.
Well, no. Did you go to
We went to winter. Yeah. We went to where he originated, so to speak, and then as a whole big show off with Downey. Yeah,
he's the great. I think he's one of the great actors ever.
Well,
you learn from him.
I mean, without a doubt. I think watching him, is definitely, it's very inspiring. I mean, look, he's somebody who wears those scars on his sleeve. You know what I mean? Like, and proudly so, and is very, kind of like, I don't know, like I still think he's very humble and given like his trajectory and all that. So no, he's also like, I still think that there's going to be a beginning again with him that we haven't seen yet. Cause he's, like people sometimes forget like how,
well,
who can do Tropic Thunder like that? Who could do
nobody.
a role like
There's
that?
nobody that can do
That's
that.
That's insane.
No, there's nobody that can do that and be likable enough to get away with it.
Yeah.
Usually, you do something like that, you'd have a backlash and a fallout and wire this and this and that. And he's just so likable and so good, and everybody roots for him to the point where they allow themselves to be in on the joke. Does that make sense? Because that performance is incredible. Everything that guy has ever done is great. I just want him to stop doing I want to, because there's a back end. This guy, I want to see real films. And I'm not saying that the cartoons aren't
saying.
real films.
No, yeah,
I want this part of his life to be over so that he can go make some of the great art
see him
ever.
Go back to like Chaplin and some of that stuff that he was doing earlier on. That was great.
And I think we'll get that, don't you?
I'm sure he's thinking,
in that
about
realm.
more of those things. Yeah, I don't know.
Cut-
Approval? No, I don't have approval.
You don't have, when you sign on to that Marvel world, they own all the merch and all that stuff, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's not a conversation for me to have. I mean, I don't know about it.
In the next 5 years, where do you see yourself professionally and personally?
I think personally, I think I could see myself in 5 years. I could see myself have kids.
You could. So you want that to be done in 5 years. You want children.
I could see that be a possibility. Yeah, but I mean, professionally, at the same time, I'm like, along with that, I would say I would have worked with, with decent sized parts with like some of these great directors.
Right.
That's the plan.
And you got the movie with Nicole Kidman coming out.
I mean, I have to start doing that here in LA.
And you start
that's
filming
a great
it.
director. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
And
That's a
woman
big
director.
deal. It's a fucking big deal. Are
We
you
need more of
opposite
those.
Nicole Kidman?
Yeah.
It's you and her.
Well, there's a lot of other great people in the movie, but
you're two.
But she and I are an item in this movie, actually, to some extent.
My girlfriend looks at me and says, "I got to go work for 90 days in Mallorca with Sebastian Stan." I'm out. I don't know how I'll deal with that.
But she has safety, so
the part of your art is you fall in love with people.
Well, I don't think you have to. I don't think it's required. I mean,
But it happens.
to have like an organic connection with somebody. I don't think it's required for you to do that in real life, but it happens. It's happened, certainly, and it's definitely happened to me. I mean, like, it happens because if it just depends on where people are at.
Long hours.
It depends on where people are at emotionally. For one thing, because that's the we're going right back to the emotional support. If you have that,
Because acting is about connecting, is it not?
No, it is connecting, and I've definitely been in situations where I worked, and there was not, where I felt like it was not, even though we were supposed to be connected and we weren't, and that's fine. But it is what it is. I mean, it's just, again, it's a communication, it's a dance, and it really depends about But you got to be.
Are you really going to be the next Luke Skywalker?
That's so funny, man. I mean, why not? I mean, I definitely
look at him stammering.
I definitely asked this weekend a person who actually could hold the key to something like that ever happening, whether or not they were enjoying this, sort of what was on the internet about it, and they certainly enjoyed it. So but I don't, I can't tell you it's like a reality right now. But it's remarkable that this man and I look so much alike.
You kind of look like this cat.
And also, this person says
you're
to me,
way better looking, but you
like,
look.
Does that mean that's how you're gonna look in a few years? And I was like, maybe.
Well, no.
But apparently now there's on Wikipedia that we're related. So believe Wikipedia. If you want. It would be after the old movies. Yeah. I mean, that's where I would fit in. There's no.
Well,
other
they
way.
did. They're doing.
I mean, listen, I'm with you, but real acting isn't necessarily going to get you hired. What's going to get you hired is sometimes whether or not people are going to show up at the movie theater. So it's definitely not a reality. So you don't have to worry.
She wanted to say that you seem very level-headed and you don't let fame get to you. And how do you manage to keep yourself in check?
You have good friends, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's what you need.
It is.
You got to have the good friends to tell you when you're an idiot.
You got to have people willing to look at you and go, "You're being ridiculous right now."
Yeah.
You're being fucking ridiculous. Sorry.
I mean, I feel like most of those successful people that we talked about have good friends.
They do. It's a must.
It's a must. Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you, man. I loved it. Yeah.
Did you have fun?
I did, of course.
He's never coming back.
No,
I'll be around.
I think he'll be back, man.
If you do another one of those world record things,
do it again.
Amazing.
Do you become Captain America?
I can't.